Hey there, Brian here with Fellow. Today's coffee drop features Elixr Coffee's Wush Wush. This is an Ethiopian natural coffee that is incredibly fruity. For me, when this coffee is hot, you definitely get those strawberry notes, and then when it starts to cool down, a more orange and mango acidic note starts to develop. We've seen your comments. We're going to be doing AeroPress next week. Stay tuned for that. Now, if you have any questions with dialing in this coffee, leave those comments below. We're here to help. And since you have me today, I'm going to show you my pour-over recipe and two different espresso recipes. Here's my pour-over recipe. I am using a stock ode. I have that set on setting 2. I am then using a EKG Stag that's set to 205 degrees. I am also using a Stag X dripper. First of all, take your filter, wet it, get rid of that paper taste, then pour in that 20 grams of coffee you just ground into the filter, give it a little shake, a little leveling. For the first pour, I'm going to pour to 60 grams. Once I hit 60 grams, I'm going to take the dripper and give it a little bit of a swirl to help agitate the grounds. I'm going to let this bloom for about 30 to 40 seconds. After that blooming period, I'm then going to pour in 90 grams to 150. I'm going to pour in slow concentric circles to ensure all the grounds are saturated, but don't worry if you're using the Stag X dripper, it's a very forgiving dripper and you don't have to be super precise with your pouring. After the 90 grams drains through, I'm then going to do 3 50-gram pours. So I'm going to pour from 150 to 200 slowly, going to let all of that drain through, pour in another 50 grams to 250, let that drain through. Then finally, I'm going to pour in 50 grams to 300. I'm going to then take my dripper, give it a little bit of an agitation, even out the bed of grinds, and that is going to be my final pour. This whole process should take about 3 minutes, 30 seconds to 4:15, depending on how fast you've poured in each of the pours. Now, I've chosen to go with a 1:15 ratio with this because I found in this coffee, I really just kind of want it to be more concentrated, more syrupy, more impactful, and I've really found that to happen in that 1:15 ratio. When it's hot in the pour over, I found that I've been able to taste this strawberry note, definitely red berries, and it's super fruity. Once the coffee does cool down, this more orangey notes and acidic notes starts to develop. So you can definitely experiment with when you taste the coffee and the temperature here. I would also suggest you to experiment with different grind sizes. I think with this coffee, you could try to push a finer grind setting, but I found a setting 2 just does a pretty good job. Nothing too crazy and just presents a cup that is just very enjoyable to drink. That was my pour-over recipe. Feel free to try that out, experiment. I like that 1:15 ratio because it gives me that stronger cup and more of a syrupy body whenever I drink it. And I think that goes really well with this Wush Wush. So I have 2 espresso recipes. Now this is going to really depend on what equipment you have, mainly what machine and what grinder you're using. But if you have any trouble dialing this in for espresso, let us know, leave those comments below and we'll help you out. But for today, I'm using a Flare Espresso 58 and a Niche Zero grinder. I have 2 recipes, one mainly for those of you with more entry-level machines or machines that do not allow you to adjust the flow and pressure, and another recipe for those of you who have a machine that allow you to manipulate the flow and pressure. Okay, so I'm going to show you my first espresso recipe. This is going to be emulating a machine like the Gaja Classic, or a machine that basically has a flat profile that you cannot adjust the pressure with. You're going to want to ensure your grind size allows you to pull around that 9 bars, but really if you don't have a pressure gauge on this, just try to target time. So I'm pulling 18 grams in, 36 out in around 25 to 30 seconds. I get this very berry, I would say strawberry note, and then as it cools down, this like mango note starts to develop. And it's very intense, it's just very present in that 1 to 2 shot. I will also say that this coffee has resulted in very nice, smooth body, and I really like that. I'm just going to grind 18 grams, and we're gonna try to pull 36 out. And while these recipes are dependent on machine, I found that this coffee is actually quite forgiving. Like, I've pulled it at a variety of ratios, different flow rates, all of that, and it's all resulted in really tasty cups. So now I've ground the coffee here, if you can see this, and I'm using a dosing funnel, and I'm going to be using a WDT tool to prep my puck. So this is how I prep my puck. And once I just break up all the clumps, give it a distribution and leveling, I'm then going to give it a vertical tap, and then I'm going to tamp it. So I'm then going to tamp it using a push tamper or calibrated push tamper there. And then that will ensure that my puck is nice and tamped and level. Then going to use, I like to use puck screens with my espresso prep, so I use a puck screen there. So now I'm going to just pull that standard 1 to 2 at around 9 bars. So I'm pushing down on the lever, but if you have a machine, you just turn it on and pull at 9 bars. And if you do have an advanced machine that can pull at, that you can manipulate the pressure with, just try to keep your flow rate around the same, or the pressure you pull on the lever at around that 9 bar range. So then you'll hit 36 grams. This shot was about 30 seconds. So this is a standard 1 to 2 espresso shot, and it is in this very standard 1 to 2 double high pressure. It's a huge impact of just berries. It's fruit everywhere, and as this espresso has been cooling down, I am now tasting more of this acidic mango and orange note, like orange zest, I would say. Drink it while it's hot if you want impactful fruit with this profile, and let it cool down if you want more of an acidic note. This is just very enjoyable in a 1 to 2 shot. Now you can adjust this for 1 to 3 if you did want a clearer presentation of those notes while still having intensity because of the high pressure. Pull 18 grams in, 54 out. For those of you with advanced machines, we're going to be doing a more fun profile so you can take advantage of having one of these types of machines. We're going to do, I've ground a little bit finer than before, than the standard 9 bar flat profile. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing a low pressure pre-infusion at around 3 bars for around 5 to 10 seconds when you see those first few drops coming out. And then I'm going to only ramp up to 6 bars. This is going to create a insanely sweet espresso that is also really, really fruity. Okay. So I'm pre-infusing at 3 bars. I see those first few drops, it's around 10 seconds. I'm then only going to ramp up to 6 bars. So I'm ramping at 6 bars, I'm just running at 6 bars, and I'm only going to pull a 1 to 2 here. So I'm pulling to 36. All right. So that is the shot right there. So that was a more advanced shot profile there, and I've found with this low pressure espresso with this coffee, you're getting basically super sweet fruitiness. So that's because we're pulling at a lower pressure, and it's amazing even in a 1 to 2. So a crazy sweet fruit bomb with this profile. If you did want to adjust this, you could lower your pre-infusion time, or you could grind a little bit finer. And I would suggest to try pulling this style of espresso to a 1 to 3, to 54 grams, because you're then getting really sweet espresso, but you're getting the fruitiness, and you can get the clarity in those fruit notes. And I think that might be something worth exploring. But overall, with this coffee as a pour over and as an espresso, I found it to be fairly flexible. You can definitely run various profiles and various recipes in both pour over and espresso, and you're just getting a crazy amount of fruit. I found, if depending on how you adjust these recipes, you can make it skew more towards the red or fruitiness or fruit roll-up type of flavor note, or you can skew it more towards that orange, zesty, acidic flavor note. But play around with it, and I think that's really fun to do, especially with really great coffee like this. Elixr Coffee's Wush Wush. As always, ordering is easy. Just text us back with the number of bags you want. And I hope you've enjoyed listening to me talk about some recipes for this coffee. I haven't come across a coffee like this in a while that is just super fruity, and it tastes great under so many different profiles. But if you have any questions regarding the recipes that you've seen, or you want help with dialing in, leave those questions in the comments below and we'll get back to you. But thank you for spending the time to watch the video. My name's Brian, and I'll hope to see you in the next one. Thank you again.